Hello, everybody, and welcome to PyxelChats. Today, we're going to be talking about crypto slang and the like. I'm here together with my co-host, Carla. Say hello to everyone at home, Carla.
What's up?
What's up? We are here with Richard and Rachel. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for accompanying us on our crypto lingo talk show today. So let's jump right into it. Tell me what FUD is all about. What is FUD? Please, Richard.
FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. This is when people just have a bad attitude about something. Maybe they got hurt by something and they're just trying to down the project or make up stuff, or maybe there is actually fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and they're feeding into that feeling and continuing that conversation.
Yeah, I think an important thing to note about the term FUD is that it's not wrong as an investor to have feelings of fear, uncertainty, or doubt. That in and of itself is part of investing in crypto land, I feel like, because of the volatility. FUD is when you're specifically trying to spread that and you're not listening to the potential answers to those feelings. So if you're in a community and you're saying, I think that these devs are scammers, and the devs are writing back, we're not. Here, let us show you the stuff that we're doing. Let's show you these different things. And you continue to say that because you're trying to you're in a panic or you're trying to panic others. That's FUD. Which is a little...
When there is no uncertainty, that's when it's apt to panic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, this is something that I experienced personally in my personal life, but can you explain what FOMO means in terms of the crypto world?
Yeah, absolutely. So FOMO stands for fear of missing out. And you feel this a lot in crypto because as you get started as an investor, a lot of the time when your attention is brought to a project, it's because it's, spiking, it's doing something really exciting. And you have this sense of like, oh my gosh, if I don't, get in on this right now, if I don't immediately put money in, if I don't sell some of my other investments, if I don't put money in from my accounts and get in on this right now, I'm going to miss it. And it's really a dangerous mindset because you absolutely have to do research in this space in order to make sure that you're protecting yourself as an investor. And FOMO is kind of that adrenaline rush that tells us to throw caution to the wind because this is going to be the one. And if we miss out in this moment, we're not going to be able to, retire early. But there's always going to be more opportunities in the crypto space. And it is much better to take a breath and calm yourself, find your center before you jump into something, as opposed to following that knee-jerk reaction of I've got to be involved. I need to be a part of this.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Yeah. For example, I bought Dogecoin because I felt FOMO and I regret it to this day. So don't be like me. You can.
Don't buy Doge at $2.
I bought Doge at 50 cents.
I did make money off of it, but then I didn't sell it in time. So.
I was about to say, I thought that you made a little bit, but
I did make a little bit.
Anyways, thank you so much. Now I gotta ask, when Lambo?
I've always wondered who Wen is and why she has a Lambo. People say this when they're asking when their coin is going to be worth whatever a Lambo is. They think that the next random project they accidentally happen upon with a 4 quadrillion supply is going to be worth 1 Lambo each.
Mm-hmm. Rachel, do you mind hitting us with some of the history on, or the background of that saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, we did a little bit of research on this because it's one of those things that just kind of feels like it's been a part of the space for as long as I've been a part of the space. But it really comes with the idea that Lamborghinis are considered a symbol of new wealth because they are super flashy and apparently not as popular with old money. And as a result, the Wen Lambo is slang in the crypto culture for becoming somebody who is newly wealthy.
Sweet. All right. Now, I hear this a lot in the crypto space. We see it on Reddit every single day. To the moon. Richard, what does it mean?
Well, it either means when the chart is all the way up in the sky to the moon or when your money is, one of those two things. It is when things are going well, you're going to rocket to the moon.
Sweet. May we all get to the moon one day.
I'm an astronaut. I hope to one day reach the moon.
And if you miss, you'll still land among the stars.
So I love these dogs. They're so cute. I need to ask, what is Doge and Shibas? Like, why is there such an obsession with those around this crypto space, Rachel?
So you'd think that I would have an answer to that, but I think that really Dogecoin was like the first meme coin that really became popular and had any traction. And its symbol is the Shiba Inu dog. And then the fact that Dogecoin went from being literally worthless to having one of the top market caps of all of the cryptocurrencies in the world, it inspired a lot of copycats. And then we actually have seen a relatively large amount of quote unquote success with these dog themed meme tokens because people looked at the success of Doge. And then when Shiba Inu launched, they're like, oh, this is the new Doge. So they got in on that. And then there was like Floki Inu and some other ones, Baby Doge. Like
so many Inu coins.
So many Inu coins, but it's really, to my understanding, just people trying to get in on the next one of the first time that cryptocurrency really like lifted a whole bunch of people into a different tax bracket.
Great. So we see the dogs, we see the Shibas. What about the monkeys? Why are there so many monkeys?
That's because you're just going to be a monkey or ape into anything you find when you have too much FOMO and there hasn't been enough FUD.
Okay, so define ape for me, Richard.
Ape, when you don't think and you just buy. You ape into it.
Monkey brain. Basically, monkey brain takes control and you throw in more money than your logical self knows you should. And usually that is a very, like, aping into something is considered reckless or risky because you're saying that, yes, I see the shiny thing. I'm going for the shiny thing. I know I should check the shiny thing before I do this, but monkey brain says get the shiny thing. Mm-hmm. So it's aping is when the monkey brain tells you buy the crypto and you listen.
Awesome. So I want to field this one over to Rachel. Diamond hands.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, diamond hands refers to somebody who invests in a cryptocurrency and then doesn't sell it through all of the volatility and ups and downs of the crypto market. And it kind of is treated as a status symbol or a sign of respect, although sometimes it can be stupid, frankly. Sometimes it pays off in the long run if you have like a project where you got in early and maybe the market's down, but you believe in what's happening with this project. And so you just hang on to it. You don't sell even when, you know, it gets really low. It could get below launch price and you just hang in there. You're diamond handing. And if that's a good project and it recovers with like, you know, time, then you're greatly rewarded for that. However, if you are diamond handing on something because you think it's going to go up and it actually doesn't have any substance to it and it just disappears, then you miss an opportunity to make money because you are too tied to holding things. And I am a habitual diamond hander, so I have seen both of these things happen, and I can say that mostly it's just indecision. Like, you know, I once was talking to somebody and they said that they are diamond hands because they don't have the good sense to sell. And I really feel like that's a very valid reason for that. Neither endorsing or, you know, speaking against it, but it's just a fact that it paralysis, choice paralysis.
And Carla, if you were to come up with something that was like the opposite of diamond hands, what would it be?
Well, obviously the opposite of diamond hands is butter hands. I don't see how that doesn't make sense. When I found out it was
like putty
paper
or
hands?
some other substance, it's just like
no, it's got to be butter.
Butter, yeah.
I mean, if my hands were made of butter, everything would fall through them.
I can't believe that it's not butter.
Well, that's true. But okay. So
now
if your hands were made of
They
things
wouldn't have
fall
any
through them.
flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would just, if my hands turned into diamonds, they would be stuck.
Right.
So if I
So
was
you
holding
couldn't.
a crypto token, couldn't do anything.
So what is the
Mhm.
opposite of diamond hands?
I think that the term that we actually are most familiar with is paper hands, which is because you fold easily to selling pressure. And generally speaking, that's a insult in the crypto space. Although, again, I think that there are lots of very good and valid reasons to sell, to make money back or to pull profit, even if people give you shit about not diamond handsing.
Awesome. Okay. Speaking of diamond hands, what does hodl mean? HODL.
Yeah. If you misspell hold, then you're lucky that someone already did that and made a meme about it called "Hold On for Dear Life."
It's like you lean into that accident.
Mm-hmm. Just
They
like
did.
Sweet.
crabs.
Speaking of crabs,
Just like crabs.
crabs
Speaking
are
of
awesome.
crabs.
They're fantastic. Our favorite crustacean friends. What does it mean when something's crabbing, Rachel?
So basically, it means that if you're looking at a chart, it's just going sideways. So the price isn't going up really, it's not going down really, it's staying within the same range of relatively small movements. And crabbing is usually a time of frustration for investors because their investment isn't doing anything. But as somebody who works in crypto projects, when a chart is crabbing on the side of the people that are making the tokens and like doing these projects, that's usually a time of like really heavy development where we're trying our best to, make sure that price is sustained and there's not a ton of sell action, but we're working really hard to develop the next thing. So like as somebody who's, behind the curtain, crabbing is usually a time of building if you have a legitimate project.
Speaking of reading charts, Richard, can you explain to me what are candles?
Well, what you do is you get your computer all set up, and it's a few minutes before New Year's, and you put candles all around it while you trade. And then you sit there and you watch the charts.
And you have good luck for the whole year.
Yeah, and then when New Year's happens, you like look up for a second, and then you just go back to trading, because that's what you do in crypto life. So candle. They call it a candle because of the telltale wick on the bar chart, or it's not a bar chart, it's a chart of bars that have wicks, and so they call them candles. But it is essentially a line chart that's made up of different little bars, and where there is like an end of one brief period of time, it will go on to the next period of time, which is the bar, and the price action during whatever period of time you're on, like 5 minutes or 1 hour, will go up and down. And if it has gone up too far and then back down and it ends lower, there will be an upper wick. And if it goes down further than it ends during that time period, there'll be a lower wick. And that's how the charts go.
That's like a weirdly abstract thing to describe without a picture.
I was just going to say, we're going to be going into this in depth more and making a YouTube video along with it. So for our listeners, stay tuned. We will have a whole podcast on this in the future.
Honestly, I think that explanation did it better than any possible visual example that I've ever seen. So I really like that description. That was pretty good. So I have to ask, what is a pump and dump?
So a pump and dump is describing a specific sort of price action with a cryptocurrency. And what that generally is a project that goes up really far. It has exponential growth and shows like a parabolic growth pattern, and then drops. And this is usually something that happens because it is something without substance. So like a meme coin, and it hits like critical mass, and then everybody tries to get out as fast as they can to try to save, any kind of funds that they can. And then it just dies. It can be a scam token, or it can have a very promising start, and then the team takes off with the liquidity, and as a result, there's a giant red candle going from a very high point to a very low point. Or it could also be something where maybe it's like a project and it's a real thing, but the people who are involved, the holders, just decide to pull their money and go. And that can also tank something and make it look like a pump and dump. But most frequently, it's considered a scam, or at the very least, something that is specifically made to gamble money on, and most people lose.
Dang. I guess that brings me to our next question. Richard, what is a rug? What does it mean when something gets rugged?
When something gets rugged. Well, it's when the development team sucks or the company goes under and everything goes to pot.
And it's generally referring to, if somebody who is in the team, or somebody's in the team, pulls the liquidity from the token. And when you remove the liquidity from a token, it kills it. People can no longer transact their buys or sells. And that just is like pulling the rug out from underneath the investor's feet. It's stealing money and it's running away like a crook with like the little bag over your shoulder and going like, ha ha ha.
I've also heard about honeypots.
That's a good one too. Yeah. Basically, a honeypot is a token launch that looks really, really good. And you're like, oh, this looks amazing. And you're looking and you're watching and there's like a really solid like buy thing. It's getting to be like a very parabolic chart where it's going up. But then it turns out that the average person can't actually sell because of how the smart contract is written. Usually these days, they'll have a couple different addresses that they approve to sell. So you'll see a few small sells in the charts because investors are starting to wise up to not want to buy into something that has zero sells. So what we do recommend, if you see something that is kind of like going in just like a huge, huge growth arc, and if you do want to invest, do a small amount and then try to sell like literally one token. And if there is no way that you can get that transaction to go through, it's probably a honeypot.
So I'd like to elaborate on this.
Yeah, please.
A honeypot is, the terms have been around for a long time, but essentially what it is something that is a trap. And so honeypots are designed to trap your funds. Rachel's example was pretty good as to how to potentially identify a poorly coded one. But, if you were someone that thought about some edge cases where people could test your honeypot and they were trying to steal your money, you could make it to where they could sell really tiny amounts once or twice. And then that'd be the only time they could do it. Or they could maybe only do one sell. And then no more sells. Or they could maybe only sell if there was like losses, or there's all kinds of ways to make bad smart contracts that can do evil things. And we're going to be talking about some software in the future that can help connect developers and communities to have better visuals to explain this kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And something like just kind of piggybacking off of like Richard's clarification on my statement. When I started in crypto, I was involved in a lot of like very, very new projects. I helped, write the copy for them as they were getting ready to launch. And the evolution over the last year and a half of like how these different scams started out, like they used to be so simple, and kind of like these edge cases that Richard is like describing, they are continuing to become more and more advanced and harder to catch. And as a result, the need for tools that can do what humans can't is so necessary in order for people to be safe in this space. Because the average person can't go through line by line on a contract and figure out whether or not it's safe. But that's why it's so important for us to make tools that do that for you. Because there's always going to be a new and better way to scam someone. People who scam people make tons of money, and they usually don't just like tap out once. They're dedicated to doing the next big heist.
All right. Thank you so much. Richard, do you mind defining what a moonshot is?
Moonshot. It's where you bet a lot and hope for the win.
Yep. It is a bet with notoriously poor odds, but you're putting it all on black, or even a small amount on black, and hoping that that is the thing that randomly makes you a millionaire. In crypto,
it's the equivalent of like the Super Bowl bet before mid-season, and you're predicting the score at the same time.
Wow. So chances are it's not a very high probability that you're going to succeed.
No, but the people who do succeed are very loud about it. And as a result, they kind of have this, like, they set this tone where they make it seem like a moonshot is much more attainable than it is. Really, it's a gamble that very, very rarely pays off. But when it does pay off, the people who get that payout, they tend to, be evangelical about it. And that's part of where the FOMO comes from, is when you see these like 1 in a million, like this guy put in $10 and now he's retiring early. Like, that's where you start to see people really have trouble moving past that like knee-jerk, like gut instinct of like, I gotta get in on this now. And then the FOMO happens, and a lot of times you get wrecked.
Yeah, but 1% of the time you win 100% of the time, baby. Rachel, let me know. What is skimming? What does it mean to skim? Is it milk? What is it?
Skimming in the crypto space is basically when you have an investment and you choose to take some of the profits off of that, but not all of it. A lot of the people that are in the DeFi space that I knew, like when I was in like investment circles, if something went up, if it doubled, they would take out, a small percent, or if it went up 5 times, they would take out a small percent, or if it went up 10 times, then they would take out their full initial investment. But all of that leaves a pretty decent chunk in to appreciate, and that's skimming, just like the milk, just taking the fat off of the top.
Mm-hmm.
Follow-up question. What is a professional cheese individual called, Rachel?
Fromagier.
Is there a less fancy word for it?
Cheesemonger.
I like that word. I like cheesemonger.
Yep, I was a certified cheesemonger. I went to cheese school in New York.
Cheesemonger sounds like a crime.
Wow. I can't believe you would say that about me.
Sounds like you smuggled cheese.
A monger is somebody who sells a commodity, like a fishmonger.
Oh.
It sounds okay when it's a fishmonger, huh?
No, it doesn't. It sounds
It sounds fishy. It sounds fishy.
It sounds fishy
It
to me.
sounds worse.
Does it?
Yeah.
I guess
Like
so.
a ferret monger.
There's a very famous fishmonger in Seattle at Pike Place Market.
Oh, they throw them around, right?
Yeah, and it's the fishmonger. So I guess I'm just used to hearing. Oh, no, that's not recommended.
Huh. Do you cut
not on the
cheese?
retail size.
Here at PyxelChats, do not throw your cheese.
All right. We will have a whole episode on Rachel's cheese journey.
And
maybe
butter
in the
hands.
future. And butter hands. All the dairy products.
All dairy products.
But until then, yeah, so what... So, Rachel, what does getting wrecked mean?
So getting wrecked is basically when everything goes to hell in a handbasket. Usually it refers to getting rugged or aping into something and then having it be a pump and dump. Basically, you have a lot and then you have nothing or next to nothing, and it hurts. It does not feel good. Yeah. And I think that kind of the word, so it's like wrecked, R-E-K-T, but it's, off of wrecked, like the longer form.
You have been
You
wrecked.
forgot how to spell?
The formalized version, Old English.
The formal wrecked.
Yep.
Definitely. Thank you for the etymology of wrecked. So,
You're super welcome.
DCA, dollar cost averaging. Could we talk about that a little bit, Richard and Rachel? I'll shoot it over to Rachel first, if you could.
Oh, sure, of course. So basically what that is when you invest in crypto multiple times, like in a crypto, a single one, when you start and say I get 10 coins that are $100 each, then each of my tokens is worth $100. But if that goes up or down, then the average dollar amount per token isn't going to stay at $100. Like, so say that it drops down to $90 and then I buy another 10. That changes my dollar cost average. Usually DCAing is referring to when you buy high and the token goes down lower, so you buy more of the token at a lower cost to bring down your overall dollar cost average.
Awesome. Richard, do you want to add
So-
anything to that, or is that see?
Yeah, you can also do $2 cost average. So if you do $2 and then you average it, it works similar to what Rachel said.
Sweet. All right.
You can
next.
actually do that with a lot of different. No, I'm joking. Anyway, sorry.
You can actually do a $3 average.
You can do it with like
Exactly,
5
right?
if you believe it.
Yeah,
you can also
I mean,
go
if you want that
less. You could do,
moonshine,
like-
you go all the way up to $5.
It's true.
Why stop there? All right. Next up, we have ATH, ATL. All the hands, all the legs. Rachel, what does that mean?
It's a spider.
It's a spider.
Do spiders have hands?
Oh God, they don't.
They don't.
Oh man.
Oh God, if they did, could you imagine? Oof.
All the hands.
Sorry, oh man, I'm gonna cry over here. That stands for all-time high and all-time low, which is
Oh.
relatively.
It's the temperature of your butter, Carla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. It's all making sense now.
Oh man.
So the butter is either solid or it's melted.
Yep. All-time
And when
high,
the butter
all-time
is
low
solid, then it's the all-time high, right?
I feel
Oh,
so-
really? I thought of it the other way.
No, because when it's melted, it's all-time low. It pours down.
Yeah, that's when it goes into the
Oh.
popcorn.
I guess I was
Otherwise, it
thinking
sits
about it
on
as like
top of the popcorn.
temperature.
Oh,
Like,
and
because the colder the butter, the firmer it is, the lower
Right.
the chart.
Oh,
oh,
that's smart. That's smart.
but also if you
That's
measure
what we said,
the,
though.
the height of
But in
butter,
the opposite way.
if you put butter on a plate, then it's like 2 inches high, and so if that same butter melts in the plate, it's like 1 centimeter high.
That's very cerebral, Carla.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was a compliment actually, but you're welcome.
It was mostly a statement.
It's very
You know?
Dior of you.
Yeah. All-time high, all-time low, very self-explanatory. Basically, when you look at a token, you see what the highest price per token it is and the lowest price per token, and that's what that is.
Thank you so much, Richard and Rachel. Now, we've heard of DYOR, do your own research, but could you briefly go over what DD is, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. DD stands for due diligence, which is basically the same as do your own research. You also might see kind of in the same arena of acronyms NFA, and that stands for not financial advice. So if you hear somebody who's, talking about something, try to keep in mind that if they are not like actually a fiduciary advisor, they don't have your best interest at heart, and they might not be giving you good advice.
So it's not a fiduciary advisor.
Correct. That actually is what that stands for too. You're right. I
Exactly.
like that.
And so
Beautiful.
if someone's shilling you something, then, it's not financial advice necessarily.
Speaking of which, PyxelChats never give financial advice. Do not take any of the thoughts or opinions here at PyxelChats as financial advice. Please do your own research and do not invest into the random things that we may or may not be talking about. They're all for the purpose of examples. Back to you, Carla.
Thank you. You mentioned shilling, Richard. I don't think our dear audience knows what that means. Do you mind explaining it?
To shill.
Or not to shill?
That is the question.
Exactly. It's when you give out shillings, right?
Mm-hmm. It's when you sit with your pigeons, feeding them on the street corner in London, and you
It's
sing.
more than a penny farthing, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
What is happening?
Sounds like Rachel has a hand on it.
So shilling is basically kind of like grassroots marketing. You see this a lot in crypto where, people who believe in a project, people who work for a project, or people who are just generally like causing chaos, or maybe they're influencers, they just say a bunch of really good things about a token or coin, and those things may or may not be true. They can be like totally outlandishly like wrong. So if you see someone who is like really, 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 really hyped and they're like trying to really talk something up and they're not having like, they can't come down to like your level or have a realistic conversation, they're probably shilling.
You got to shill for your bag.
Yep, you got to shill for your bag.
Oh, that's
Thank you so much.
Sieg and I came up in the same circles, so.
We're from similar backgrounds in the back streets of
Super true.
ye old
Crypto.
European crypto town. So, whale, what are they besides a mammal in the ocean?
I was about to sound real dumb for a second, but
No, I've got a good joke though. I've got a good joke.
Go for it.
Do it.
So a whale, right? That's like a marine mammal. And an NFT is actually describing baleen whales because they have no teeth.
Oh.
Wait, what?
There you go.
Wait, why? Is teeth a phrase we need to define too?
No, NFT. An NFT.
Oh,
It's no-
I get it.
All of this stays in there.
It is in.
I was like, what's teeth? What do teeth mean? Oh, that's great. Okay, good.
I thought we were getting aggressive here. We're just like, yeah, whales can't do anything. Like,
Yeah.
please don't
They got
dump.
no teeth.
The way you delivered that, Rachel, was so aggressive. It was like, yeah,
I'm
those
sorry.
stupid whales. I was like shocked. I was like, what does that
Oh
mean?
man. We're getting silly with it
Several
tonight,
ton
guys.
animals.
Hey, this is a meme topic. It's good that we're silly with it. Could you imagine if we were like, yes, this is
Super
what this
serious.
means? Yeah.
Anyway, whales. What are they?
Yeah, what are whales aside from large aquatic mammals called cetaceans?
So a whale is somebody who has a very large amount of tokens in a specific project. So if I got into something early and maybe I'm holding like 3% of a token, that might not sound like a ton, like just on surface level, but once you get into crypto, having 3% of a token is a ton. And they're called whales because they're big investors. So like there's kind of like the metaphorical bigness of having like a large bag. And then they also have a lot of impact. Kind of like if a whale were to be dropped on something, there would be a big impact.
Not like a whale jumping out of the water, but like a whale being purposely
Yeah.
dropped.
This is like
Well-
some Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy stuff, you know?
Now, do we have anything to wrap this up with, Carla?
What's your favorite meme?
Does it have to be crypto related?
No. But yes,
Favorite meme.
ideally, it should be.
I mean, it's kind of weird to describe memes sometimes. Like, my favorite crypto meme is definitely the one where it's like the old guy, right? And he's got like, he looks pained to be alive. He's got like the white hair.
Harold.
Yeah.
And he's like raising his hands up, but he like is like in a kind of like a celebration, but he also looks like he's horrified at the existence of like, it's just existential terror on this old guy's face. And it's like, crypto is not stressful at all. I just turned 20 and I'm as happy as I've ever been.
That's great.
There's actually a great dog one that I have. It's a pug, like looks all sad and dejected, looking out the window as the car is driving down the road. And the caption is, "I don't know, man. What if I never find out who's a good boy?"
You sent me that one. I feel like I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Okay, well, I will share my favorite meme because the "This is fine" one is great, but I also like the one of the two women like shouting and pointing at the cat, and the cat's behind the plate.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that one's great. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. This has been a great podcast. This has been Carla.
And Sieg, it has been a wonderful time having you all here. Thank you so much, Richard and Rachel. I hope everyone at home has a lovely time. Sleep well, wake up well, do everything that you do your daily functions in a sufficient manner.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.